Hey everyone, this is Smart Aquaponics system. So before telling you about our system, let me tell you what aquaponics actually is. Aquaponics is an agriculture technique that can be used indoor as well as outdoor, and it produces. It's got more produce than the regular agriculture techniques, with less usage of water, and also it's organic, so there are no external fertilizers or chemicals used, and it also occupies less area. So now let me just get into our system. So this is our system, and it's got two tubs, the lower tub and the upper tub. The lower tub's gonna be the place where we're gonna have all the water and also the fishes. We don't have fishes at the moment because we just ordered our fishes, and they're gonna be coming later this week. So we're gonna be using koi as our fish for the lower tub. Because koi is known to produce a lot of waste, and it suits the aquaponics system. It's the best for aquaponics system. So let me tell you how this works. The koi is going to produce waste, the fish waste, and the fish waste is going to be mixed with water, and the water mixed with the fish waste, it's going to be pumped up to the upper tub with plants using the submersible pump in the lower tub. So water mixed with fish waste, it's gonna be pumped up into the upper tub. So and I got a hole over there, and it's gonna use drip irrigation to drop in water into the plants in the upper tub. So coming to the upper tub, you can have plants directly planted on the upper tub, or else you can arrange pots. So if you're putting plants directly onto the upper tub, I recommend you to put a few pebble stones in the lower layer, or any kind of stones in the lower layer, and sand on top of it, a bit of sand on top of it, and then put your plants on, because the water that's going to seep in through the sand, through the mud, all the mud is going to be cleared by the stones, and you're going to have fresh water coming out of here. So the coming back to the upper tub, you got water mixed with fish waste, which is going to come up to the upper tub, and it's going to go on these plants. It's going to drip slowly on these plants. I'll be posting the video that I recorded of the drip irrigation. You can actually see over here the drops from the hole made in the pipe. You can make as many number of holes you want in the pipe on the upper tub. So this is going to irrigate the plant, and the water that's going to irrigate the plant is going to have fish waste in it. So that waste acts as a natural manure for the plant. So you don't need any external chemicals or fertilizers to water the plant. Therefore you can achieve organic growth for very less cost, and this is where you can have your plants. And the excess water, it just goes up to the upper tub, and just falls back into the lower tub with this hole in the upper tub. So what happens is, the excess water, there's also going to be holes down the pot. If you're using a pot, just make sure you make a hole. It's pretty easy to make a hole in the pot. The water from the upper tub, it's going to pick up oxygen and fall into the lower tub. It's going to pick up a lot of oxygen before it falls into the lower tub. So it acts as an oxygen for the fish inside this water. So, and it also would have picked up many nutrients from the soil, and along with oxygen, and it's going to fall down. So you don't need any kind of external aerators for the fish in the lower tub. And as this water already carries oxygen, you don't need any external aerators for the fish in the lower tub. And coming to our sensors that we have used, and before that we also got a light over there for artificial lighting. And coming to the sensors that we have used, I got like this water level sensor, and this senses the level of water in the lower tub. If the water level is less, the system's not gonna pump water anymore. And you can see that in the dashboard that I'm going to be showing later in the video. We got our soil moisture sensor over there. So this soil moisture sensor, here we go. It senses the soil moisture of the soil on which the plant is, and if the moisture is less, it's going to start in watering automatically. So just make a hole over here where we keep the plants. Like if you're keeping many plants, make a plumbing system all over the upper tub and make multiple holes. And I tied this knot on the pipe just to create pressure at this point, so that there's going to be water. Pouring in the plants. Also make sure that you don't bend the pipe and there's only water falling in small dips, because it's going to damage the soil if there's a lot of water going into the soil if you're using small plants. Or else if you're planting some plants that need a lot of water, you can just make some kind of bend in the pipe. Sorry about that. Make some kind of a bend in the pipe so that you get more water, so you can have more water wherever it's needed, or else you can use drip irrigation wherever it's necessary. Alright, so coming back to the sensors, we have the DHT11 sensor. So this DHT11 senses the temperature as well as humidity conditions around, and all these sensors are connected to both the Raspberry Pi. We are using a Raspberry Pi 3 Model B, and also the Viznet W6100. We thank Viznet for giving us this W6100 for the project, and I'll get into the specifics later of what they're used for. So before that, I want to talk about this module. This is the relay module. We're using a 4-channel relay module. You can also use a 2-channel relay module or multiple channels if you're doing this in a large area. I kept this in my balcony, so I just need one motor and one light. So what this does is you got your AC current from the wall coming in to the motor, and as well as the light, and you need some kind of a way to control the current. So we got a relay module, and that's controlled by the Raspberry Pi. You can also use Viznet to control it, but we're using Raspberry Pi because we are thinking of running a computer vision program later. We're behind our logic in the Raspberry Pi that controls our light and water. So we're using Raspberry Pi right now, but you can also use Viznet for it. So let me tell you what Viznet does over here. So Viznet just gets the readings from the sensor, and it's actually an Ethernet module. Viznet W6100 is an Ethernet module put on top of Arduino, and what it does is it sends the sensor data to the backend that's hosted on the cloud. We're using Heroku for the cloud as it's free to use. There's a free variant is free to use. So we're using Heroku for the cloud, and we're using Django as the backend for backend for the cloud. I mean, we built REST APIs using Django. Django is a Python web framework that allows you to build your server-side code, and we are using REST APIs. So we got a REST API that receives all the data, I mean the sensor data, and that's sent from this WizNet W6100. So it receives data from the sensor and connects to the internet through this Ethernet cable that's connected to our modem, and yep, that goes there, and it pushes data onto the cloud. Yeah, and this one's actually a repeater, kind of like I got a main Wi-Fi that's at home, so this one just catches in Wi-Fi, and it gives you some Ethernet ports. Yeah, it gives you some Ethernet ports, so it catches in Wi-Fi and gives you the internet through Ethernet. It also repeats the Wi-Fi again, so it's kind of a repeater. So there you go. That's what WizNet does. And we got a Raspberry Pi over there. Raspberry Pi also runs another part of the logic. It's like the automation system. So what it does is it receives the readings from the water level sensor as well as the soil moisture sensor, and tells if the plant needs more water or not, and if the tub has a lower water level, it's not going to water the plant. It's going to show up in the dashboard that we'll have to fill in more water in order for the plant to be watered. So that's the one logic that it runs, and also it controls the relay module. So it receives data from the server, and I'll get into it later when I show you the dashboard. It receives data from the server and will determine if the user would want the motor or the light to be on. We're given a functionality in our dashboard so that the user can control the light in the motor, the water pump, and that's handled by this Raspberry Pi. Those instructions are handled by the Raspberry Pi. So the actuating is handled by the Raspberry Pi, and the sending the sensor data to the cloud is handled by the WizNet W6100. The advantage of this is our system. It actually sends. It's actually supposed to send the sensor data every 15 minutes. So as Raspberry Pi is running a lot of logic and doesn't have much computation power, it might miss on the 15th minute. For example, if the data that's supposed to be sent at 9:15 might be sent at 9:20. So we use the WizNet so that there's a separate module that sends data every 15 minutes, and we don't miss out on any data in the cloud for performing further analysis. So that's the reason we use WizNet W6100. I thank WizNet again for providing this module to us. Right, so now you know what the Raspberry Pi does, and now you know why the WizNet does, what the WizNet does. And it's all enclosed under this box. This box is totally optional, but it's like a safety box. As this is a wet area, if there's any water splash accidentally over it, it doesn't cause any short circuits on WizNet, Raspberry Pi, or the relay module. So let me just take it to the dashboard right now.